Hi, it's Angela from Queen of Crochet. This is me giving you a very short demo on how to do the virus shawl. So I am, as you can see here, following the chart. I'm going to keep touching it because it only stays on the screen for 2 minutes, so excuse me while I do that. And I'm going to start because it shows us 10 dots in a circle. And if you have a look at your chart description, symbol descriptions, a dot is a a dot is a chain, and I'm going to do 10 chains and join them with a slip stitch. So the slip stitch looks like a little comma, and I'm just going to do that now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now guys, I'm assuming that if we get into virus shawl level, I won't have to describe chains, slip stitches, double crochet. So if you're not sure of any of those, probably best to go back, have a look at those and then revisit. So I've done my 10 chain and I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain from the hook. Sorry, the furthest chain from the hook, the first chain that I did, and I'm going to do that slip stitch. So in there, I'm now going to follow the pattern which tells us to do 3 chain and then 19 double crochet into the center. Okay, so let's count how far I've got on this first row. So chain 3 counts as a stitch, but we need 19 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I've got one more to do. 19, and that's row 1 done. So what we do now is we turn and ready to start row 2, and row 2 begins with a 3 chain, and that's one good way of knowing when you're looking at the chart and it's working. Row 1, so that is anti-clockwise, row 2 is clockwise. But if you're not sure and you're ever working with a chart and this is quite clearly numbered, then the chains at the start are the trick to knowing where you're at. So we are now starting row 2, and row 2 is 1 double crochet in every double crochet that you've made. Now it's quite easy to see, but the 3 chain acts as a double crochet and we will not be working into position 1. So I'm going to put the first stitch into position 2 and off I go. Okay, so there's the 3 chain, there's the first one. And if I tilt these towards me, I can see my chevrons, and I'm going to work into every one across. So row 2 begins with 3 chain, and then we do 1 double crochet into each of the double crochets from the previous row. So what I've done there is chain 3 to start, which is back here, and then I've worked 1 double crochet into each double crochet from the previous round right the way, and now I've got something resembling a half circle. So this is our top end, and we're going to grow out this way. Now I'm going to change colours, not for any other reason than to show you or to differentiate the different rows. So I've done the plain double crochet ones, so I'm going to just pull this out. I'm going to get rid of that one, and I'm just going to turn and start with a new colour, and I'm on row 3. So looking at row 3, slightly different to rows 1 and 2. Row 3, we start with 4 chains. And what this pattern does, it'll kind of give you an idea of the real-time positioning of them. So our 4 chain, the first 3 of that 4 count as a double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then what we're going to do is do another one, and that's going to be the space that you're going to make between all the other stitches. So we're looking at double crochet, chain 1 all the way across into all the stitches that are on the previous round. So double crochet, chain 1, and every stitch, no gap, every stitch is worked on this row. So chain 4, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and it gives you this small gap there. So I am going to do that all the way around. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and I'm just working the chevrons as I normally would. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, all the way around into every stitch. Okay, so row 3 is worked on the pattern in an anti-clockwise direction. It starts with a chain 3, a chain 4, and then a double crochet, chain 1 in every stitch around. So we work in every chevron, every stitch around, and we've got this there to finish that row. Now row 4, again, slightly different, and in row 4 we come across a new thing to look at on the pattern. So let's turn so I'm ready to go. And 4 is done in an anti-clockwise direction, and it starts with, so let's introduce this new concept on the pattern, on the chart. You have got 3 chains and then a long line with a number 7 underneath it. That tells you that it is a 7 chain space plus 3, which means 10. So we start row 4 with a chain 10. So I'm just going to start. Then we work, the other thing to notice in this is that we are working in alternate holes. So the little black rectangles that you'll see on the chart. So we finished row 4, that's 1, 2, 3, sorry, back, and we finished row 3 and we're now on row 4. And row 4 is done in a clockwise direction, starting from a chain 3 point next to a 7 and a line, an arched line. Now that arched line indicates a row of chains. So what it's asking you to do, and I'll show you here, is to chain 3 as indicated, and then do another row of chain 7. What it's doing, that's the chart's way of showing you that the chain 3 takes the place of a double crochet. So I've chained 3, and then I'm going to do my 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So wherever you see an arched line with a number underneath it, that is the indicator of the number of chains within that chain, the number of stitches within the chain. So I've done my 3 plus 7, which is 10. And then if you note, there is the small little rectangle, black rectangle, which is the indicator for a single crochet. That is in alternate holes. So you skip the first one, you work a single crochet in the second one, and your single crochets are always worked in every other hole. So we always skip a hole. So now there we've got the crochet equivalent of our pattern, which is chain 3 plus chain 7, which gives you a 10 chain space. We've done our single crochet in the second hole, and now we're going to do 3 loops of 4 chain, and we're going to skip a hole and pop a single crochet. So 4 chain, single crochet, 4 chain, single crochet, 4 chain, single crochet. So I'll show you what that looks like actually crocheted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, miss a hole, put a single crochet in the next one. So as you can see, all of our single crochets in this row are in alternate holes. We always skip a hole, work a hole, skip a hole, work a hole. So skip, single crochet, skip, single crochet. So I am ready for the second chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet, skip, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip, single crochet, and now we've got the center point. And the center point, we know it's the center point because it's got 2 7 chain spaces at the midpoint. They will always be at the midpoint. If your 2 7 chains, like a little, I don't know, little butterfly link, if they start going off center, you know something is wrong. That is a really good indicator for your center point. So I am going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exactly the same. Skip 1, single crochet. Oh my gosh, that is the dog snoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm really sorry if you can hear little snorty noises. There's snorting noises in the background. It's the dog. Skip 1 and then do a single crochet. So that's our center point. And we're going to copy exactly the same. So on the pattern it'll show us there are 3 4 chain spaces, and then I'll explain what it looks like on the pattern. But this time the pattern of the chart does separate our 7 chain, and they don't put 3 chain, they put a double crochet because a double crochet is equivalent to 3 chains. I'll show you what that looks like. So 1, 2, 3, 4, skip a hole, single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip a hole, single crochet, and the last time 1, 2, 3, 4, skip a hole, single crochet. And what we're going to do now is we'll be working our the last stitch. I'll make that clear for you. Here into that chain, that space around here. Don't work it into there, that's skipped. We actually work here. Pop into a corner. So, you know, pop it where you can or poke it where you can. But I am going to do 7 chain. Because I've got my 7 chain arch line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to finish with a double crochet into that corner spot there. Oops, just lost that. So that is row 4 finished with a double crochet. I'll talk you through it. So we've got this here, which is our 3 chain plus 7 chain loop, so 10 chains in that loop. Single crochet, we've skipped one, we skip one between every single crochet. Single crochet, chain 4, skipped one, single crochet, chain 4, skip one, single crochet, chain 4, skip one. This time we chain 7, skip 1, single crochet, chain 7, skip 1, single crochet, chain 4, chain 4, chain 4, skip 1, single crochet, skip 1, single crochet, skip 1, single crochet, to this last loop where we have 7 chain and a double crochet. So we're now ready for row 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 on row 5. Row 5 is done in an anti-clockwise direction. Now my advice is when you first get these charts, print them off and highlight the rows, because it actually gets a bit messy around these 4 chain points and you have to work out where they are. Please come and see me for my class, guys, because I can highlight them for you and it will make a lot of difference. But if you can, hopefully you can keep up from what I'm doing now. It's a fabulous shawl, well worth it. So I'm going to start row 5 and I'm starting with a 3 chain, and I'm going to put 9 double crochet into this space here, the big space. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So row 5 starts with a chain 3, 9 double crochet into the big hole you've made there at the end. Okay, so we're now looking at a single crochet, and the single crochet goes into the first hole, into the first chain space. So your single crochet goes in there. So single crochet into the chain space. We're now going to work 4 chains, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do another single crochet in the chain space, into the next chain space. We're going to do chain 4, and we're going to do a final single crochet. That takes us, and I know this is probably not looking particularly clear, but can you see those? We have a set of spaces there. Let's see if I can make that look a bit better. So we started off on the previous row with 3 holes, and now on row 5 we have 2 4 chain spaces. So I think you can see that. We are now ready to jump straight into our big center point holes, and in each of those holes we put 10 double crochet. Okay, so I've just popped 10 double crochet into that chain space and 10 double crochet into that chain space. So 10 double crochet into the chain space at the beginning of row 5, single crochet, chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and we're single crocheting into the loops from the previous row. So we are working the 4 chain spaces in the previous row, jump straight into our center, 7 chain spaces, 10 into that one, 10 into that one, and we're ready to do our mirror image across on the other side, and we start with the single crochet in that chain space. We are going to work 4 chain. We're going to do a single crochet in there in the next chain space, and 1 more single crochet in the last 4 chain space. So we basically mirrored what we did on the previous round. We've done that single crochet in the last chain space, and we're going to be putting 10 double crochet into this last large hole. I kind of think of them as little chain spaces and large chain spaces. But I'm hoping you'll find your flow with this, because as I said, you won't need the pattern or the chart for long. It's that repetitive. When you start, you don't think you will, because it's quite complex, but it's one of those ones, there's definitely a light bulb moment with it for sure. Okay, so let's just see where I'm at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're now finishing row 5, and we are ready for row 6. And row 6 is the last row on the repeat, because what you do is when you come to row 7, you're starting all over again. So hopefully that will make sense to you in a minute. So it does look a bit of an odd shape now, but it will grow into a beautiful shawl. So let's change to the blue yarn a second. I'm now on row 6. Row 6 works in a clockwise direction, starting with 3 chain. And what we do in this first piece of work here is we put 10 double crochets, 1 in each of the chevrons of the row before. So I'm just going to pop that on. I can see my chevrons when I tilt my work towards me. Always remember, if you're a bit stuck where to go, tilt your work towards you and you'll see a nice row of chevrons there. We are working 1 double crochet into each one, but we start with a chain 3. So I don't know whether that helps if I tilt it towards you. Can you see the chevrons? And we are working into every one as we go around. So I'm just going to carry on with that. Oh, sorry, little message for somebody. Thank you, Pam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8, 9, and there's my last one, 10. So I have worked a double crochet in every chevron from the previous round. This is not looking beautiful with all these crazy colours, but actually is such a pretty shawl. Just have a bit of faith. I'm going to put this on a blog, and what I'll do is I'll try and put some examples on the blog. I'll try and find some free pictures that people are willing to share and get you some pictures so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm now working into, I'm just going to pop that up a bit, row 6, and I've put 1 double crochet into each stitch, starting with a 3 chain. I've now come across my first 4 chain space, and I'm going to put a single crochet into the 4 chain space. I'm going to chain 4, and if you like to think of it as I'm at the top of a little pyramid of chain spaces now. So this is only one, there's only 1 4 chain space. So I've done single crochet into that hole, 4 chains, single crochet into that hole, and I don't know whether that helps doing that, but you got 1. Ooh, excuse me, I've just lost my chart. You start off with 3 4 chain spaces, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Then you have 2 on the next row, 1, 2, and on this last row of the repeat you have 1. So you've got a little pyramid. Okay, so I'm now looking at, I've just done my single crochet, which is the little black rectangle, and I'm looking at starting to work on these top center ones, and it's exactly the same as the first one here. We are going to pick our first chevron and work straight from the single crochet into the first double crochet of the previous round, and in total you'll be working 20 double crochet into these between, so 10 in here, 10 in here. Oh, I'm sorry, got buzzers going off all over the place. Okay, right. So just keep plodding away. Make sure you've got 20 because this is the setup row for the next round. So I am going to do I'm going to do one more round with you because I'm hoping that by doing these first 7 rows, you'll have got a gist of the pattern and will be able to follow the pattern increases. Okay, so I've done the first half and I'm going to carry on, and I end up with 20 double crochet between the 2 holes, 10 in each. And then when I've done those 20, I will come to my first 4 chain space and I will do a single crochet. I will chain 4, and in the next chain space I will do a single crochet. So there's my 20, and I come straight to a 4 chain space. So once I've done there, that is my next spot to work, and I do 1 single crochet in there. I'm going to chain 4 and do a single crochet in the next hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet, and we're now at our last block of double crochets, or little circle of double crochets, and there's going to be 10 because we have to remember to work the turning chain. So 9 double crochets plus a double crochet in the turning chain, and that will be row 6 finished. So none of these stitches are difficult, and so we're only doing single crochet. There's a slip stitch at the very beginning and some chains, and a double crochet and a single crochet is all you need to know. So technically, you make sure you know those. This is just about reading a chart, and it's not an easy chart, but once you get it, you'll be flying. And I'm going to finish with the last double crochet in the 3rd chain of the previous round's turning chain, and that is row 6 completed. I'll just talk you through it because it's probably not very clear. Okay, so we start row 6 with a turning chain over the chain of 3, and then we work a double crochet in each of the double crochets in the previous round until we get to the first 4 chain space. We do a single crochet in the first 4 chain space, we chain 4, and then we do a single crochet in the next chain space. Then we go on to the center point 7 chain holes, and we work 10 double crochet in the double crochet of the previous round there, and 10 double crochet, 1 in each of the previous round there. That brings us to our 4 chain space. We pop a single crochet in there, we do 4 chain, we get to another 4 chain space and we pop a single crochet in there, and then we jump straight to these double crochets and we pop 1 double crochet in each of the double crochet from the previous round and the turning chain. I'll stay with this colour. We turn, and we're going to go back now, and row 7 is the start of your ongoing repeats, because if you think of starting, this is row 1 of your repeat. Now you will always, after you've done your repeat, have a setup row with chains and then 2 rows of double crochet. So we have a holy row, we have a chain row, and then we have 2 rows of double crochet, and then we're back to the holy row again. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 row repeat. So I'm going to do now a holy row for you. I hope that makes sense. And that is row 7. And we start row 7 with 3 chains plus 1. So the 3 chains acts as the double crochet, and then we've got the 1 chain space. And then what we're going to do, into every double crochet from the previous round, we are going to do a double crochet and a chain 1. So double crochet, chain 1, and directly into the next stitch, double crochet, chain 1. So this might start looking familiar because you've actually done this before. You did this on row 3. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, chain 1. And what happens is you're going to have to skip this. Okay, we don't work into this on row 7 or on what I'm going to call the holy rows. You don't work into these, into the chains, the 4 chain spaces. We ignore them. We just hop straight over the top of them. So tilt the work if you can't find your chevrons. But we are going to work a double crochet, chain 1 into every double crochet from the previous round. So I finished this little batch here, chain 1. So I've worked every double crochet there was in the previous round, and I'm hitting my 4 chain space. I am going to ignore that, and I am going to hop across to my first double crochet, which is that there. I'm ignoring these single crochets, chain 4 single crochets. I am going into here, and I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 1 into every single double crochet from the previous round. Now we know there was 20, so it's 20 double crochet separated by a chain 1 space in this round. So I'm going to keep going, I'm halfway. And then when we finish these 20, and we've done 20 double crochet, chain 1, 20 times, we are going to hit another 4 chain space, and we are going to do exactly the same again. So I'm just coming to the end of that's my last double crochet from the previous round, and I've done a double crochet, chain 1 into it, and we are hitting a 4 chain space. And what you do is you ignore it. There's no work done into that chain 4 space. We are going to go straight to our double crochet, chain 1. So that's our first double crochet from that. Sorry, that's your first double crochet from that section. I've just double crocheted into, just want to make sure that is a double crochet. I wasn't quite sure whether that was. Okay, so excuse that. And we are going to 10 times do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 right the way to the very last one. The next row, which is row 8, I like to think of that as a setup row, because that's where you set up your holes for the pattern. So this is the holy row, but the next row, which I'm not going to do, I'm just going to talk through, is where we set it up, and that looks like, let me show you, Let me get rid of this. So we've got ends everywhere. I just thought it might be useful to do it in different colours. Okay, so I'm just going to come in a bit closer if I can. So we start a row here. Now this is a kind of, ignore these, because where I want you to think with that's, I think most of you will get to that point fairly easily. So what we've got now is the row that I've just finished, which is row 7, is exactly the same as row 3, in that each stitch has a double crochet chain 1 in it. So everything you do from row 7 onwards, you have already done, if that gives you any confidence. So here we start with what, I don't know, perhaps I should call it something different, but this is your chain 1, double crochet chain 1 row, which is here. Now what's going to happen when you do row 8 is you're going to do a big loop here, you're going to do your 3 forwards, and then you can have another big one here. And then you're going to do little ones, and then your 2 big ones here. So this is our increase. We will have an extra 7 chain space here, and then every row it increases. So this point at which the increase happens. So if you can get to this point, it is just a case of repeating and having these little holy pyramids. And I think that's it. I mean, at least I've shown you one of everything. And it really is a lovely... Now, I know this is for Sylvia, and I know she's going to think about doing it in cabaret, which is absolutely lovely. So I wish you good luck. Please message me if I can be of any help, and I can always put a little snippet of something if you're stuck with it. But good luck. It's an absolute staple, is the Virus Shawl. You really need to get one in your wardrobe. Good luck with it, and let me know if you have any problems. Bye.